Namaste yogis, my name is Pallavi Rajankar and welcome to Yoga and You. This particular video that we're doing is something that's very close to my heart because it's in the space of holistic wellness. A lot of times when we think of health, we think just about physical health, but there's a lot more to it. There's mental health, there's emotional health, and whether we believe it or not, there's energetic health. And today we're doing a two-part series on yoga to open up our chakras. Now chakras is a word that some of us might find confusing to understand, but I'm going to clear that up right now. So what are chakras? Chakras quite literally means wheel, right? Biologically, if we think about it, because nowadays a lot of us are quite rational and need evidence like myself. Biologically, if we are to understand chakras, they correspond to certain neural activity in the body, and they also correspond to certain major organs in the body. Now energetically, everything that we do as human beings, and even animals, plants, whatever it is, we all use a certain amount of energy to function. Now Indians historically, we've called it prana, which is the universal life force. The Chinese call it chi, right? Anyway, so this prana, this energy, this universal life force flows through our bodies through certain channels. Now imagine if you think about it, that there's energy flowing through. The chakras basically act like gears, allowing the energy to flow through. Now obviously, if there's going to be a blockage in a certain gear or a blockage in a certain channel, energy is not going to be able to flow freely, right? So just like that, we have many chakras in our bodies, hundreds of chakras in our bodies, but yoga has kind of classified it into seven or kind of renamed about 7 main chakras, and I'm going to name it for you just so you understand the asanas that we're going to go into. The first chakra is the root chakra or Mooladhara, that corresponds to safety. The second one is the sacral chakra or Swadhisthana, corresponding to sexuality. The third chakra is solar plexus or the Manipura chakra, corresponding to power. The fourth chakra is our heart chakra or Anahata chakra, corresponding to love. The fifth chakra is our throat chakra or Vishuddha, which corresponds to communication. The sixth chakra is our third eye chakra or Agnya, which corresponds to our intuition. And the seventh chakra is our Sahasrara or crown chakra, which corresponds to our connection to our higher divine self. Now when this energy is moving through these chakras, the universal life force that we spoke about earlier, if any of the chakras are blocked, say for example which is caused by some emotional hurt or some trauma or some physical pain, if there is a blockage, it's possible that energy isn't allowed to flow freely and it causes a physical disease. And so which is why yoga is important to allow us to open up these chakras so that we can stay disease free. I'm now going to move into the asanas, and it's a two-part video. This video has a few poses to open up the chakras which are quite basic. In the second video are some of the more advanced asanas, right? So let's begin. So for the first asana, we're going to get up and we're going to move into our tree pose or Vrikshasana. We're going to start with the right foot. So I'm going to ask you to keep your right foot very firmly planted on the floor. Engage all of the muscles of your right leg, right? So your thigh, your calf, engage it. Imagine like your right foot is glued to the floor. Shift your weight to the right leg and gently lift your left foot up. Now, it can be below your knee or above your knee. Either one is fine, just not on the knee because you don't want to injure yourself, right? So keeping the foot onto the thigh, hands to heart center, gaze at one point in front of you so that you're not distracted. Holding the pose here for 4. For 3, if you want an extra challenge, you can even close your eyes. For 2, if you want even more of a challenge, you can lift your hands up. Staying here for another 2. And for 1. Slowly bringing your hands back to heart center if you've lifted it. And then gently release your left leg. We're going to do this on the same side. We're always going to balance the body, right? So same thing, root down through your left foot. Imagine your left foot is very heavy into the floor. Engage your left thigh. Shift your weight slightly onto the left side. Lift your right leg up. If this is all you can do, that's fine. Keep it below the knee or above the knee. Okay, just not on the knee. You don't want to injure yourself. As much as you can go. Hands to heart center. Gaze or drishti on one point in front of you so that you don't get distracted by any movement. Engage the core, tighten it. Staying here for 4. Once again, you can lift your hands up if you feel like, or you can close your eyes if you want the challenge. If you are an advanced practitioner. For 3. For 2. Inhale, lengthen even more if you can. Rolling the shoulders back. And for 1. Gently bringing your hands back to heart center. Releasing the right leg down. Good. From here, we're slowly going to sit back down. Bending the knees, allowing the hips to come down for another 4. For 3. For 2. And for 1. Staying in Malasana. This might be a little bit difficult for some of you. If it's difficult, what you can do is, you can just roll the mat behind you, placing your ankles on the mat like this. It becomes a lot easier for us to balance, right? With your elbows, push your knees aside. Back is as straight as possible. Look in front of you. Staying here for another 3. For 2. Last little breath here. And for 1. Stay in Malasana. If you've rolled up your mat, just unroll it. You're here. And then slowly from here, just drop the hips down. If possible, without your hands. Lifting the feet up to the eye level. Hands on either side of the legs. Staying in your Navasana. If you're new to this practice, or if you're a beginner, hold your legs. Use it as support to lengthen the spine. And then from here, hands on either side of the legs, drishti or gaze on your big toes. Staying here for 3. For 2, back is straight. For you and me both. For 2. And for 1. Slowly bringing the legs back down. From here, hands down, legs extend to the front of the mat. Okay, you can adjust so that you're at the bottom of the mat. From here, we're going to go into Matsyasana or fish pose. So hands go underneath the bum. Left hand goes under the left bum and your right cheek. Right? Your hands are here. Inhale, lengthen the spine as much as possible. Super point your feet to the front of the mat so that you're flexing your legs. Gently bend down through the elbows. Rest. Inhale, allow the chest to go up to the ceiling. Exhale, head goes back to the floor. Staying here for 4. For 3. Imagine like someone is pulling yourself up to the ceiling. For 2. Last little breath. Remembering to breathe. And for 1. With control, gently move your chin to your chest. Don't whip out of the pose, especially if you're someone who has blood pressure. Don't whip out of it. Release your hands. Use your hands to straighten your back up. Gently cross your legs. Allow the knees to go as wide as the mat. Toes touching. Hips are just resting on the heels. Bringing your head down to the floor. Hands extend in front of you. Coming back into your Balasana or child's pose. If you are out of breath, now is a good time to catch your breath. Balasana is a great pose to regulate the nervous system, to feel grounded. Spreading the fingertips as wide as possible and really holding on to the earth below you. Lengthen the spine. Imagine like you're trying to touch the very front of the mat. Really feeling those muscles stretch.
Don't allow your elbows to rest on the floor. Release it off the floor. Really do the work. If you're here, you might as well give your 100%. Staying here for another 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Slowly drag your hands back, curling your back.
Allow your back to straighten up.
Bringing your feet right in front of you once again. I'm going to turn you so that you can see.
So from here, just coming into a comfortable seated pose. Bring one heel into your hips, the other ankle in front. Allow the knees to be flat down, or if that's not possible and your hips are tight, your knees are up, gently place a pillow or a block down. Allow your knees to rest. Coming into the meditation pose, your hands can stay on the knees, or it can be your palms can be facing the ceiling, back is straight. And we're just going to stay here for 7 counts. Regulating the breath for another 7. For 6, taking deep inhales and exhales, relaxing the shoulders. For 5. For 4. Really allowing that intuition to come through. This pose is for the third eye or the Agnya chakra. Allowing yourself to really sit in silence, to listen to yourself, to listen to what is going on internally. What is the mind chattering about? What is the mind's voice saying? For another 2, can you quieten it? Allowing the wisdom to come through. Last little breath here. And for 1. Gently opening the eyes. And we're going to move into our final Shavasana. So gently face the long side of the mat. Allow your legs to extend, heels and toes out. Bringing your spine down, palms facing the ceiling. And staying in Shavasana. Relaxing every little muscle in the body, even the ones you don't usually pay attention to. We're staying here for another 5. You can stay as long as me, or you can stay as long as you want. You can extend the Shavasana for 5 to 10 minutes. Totally up to you. For 4. Allowing the body to really feel the effects of the practice that we just had. For 3. Noticing the muscles, the energy, whether you feel any different mentally, physically, emotionally. For 2. Just taking some deep breaths. And for 1. Gently move your fingertips and slowly moving your toes. Curling onto one side. Slowly coming back into seated. So what we just did was certain very basic asanas that you can do even on a daily basis to open up some of the chakras if you have certain blockages. In the first part, we did rather basic asanas to open up the chakras. And in this video, there are certain more advanced challenging poses to open up the chakras. If you're a beginner at yoga, I'm going to advise you to do this video with some caution or to do it with a teacher rather than to allow your ego to, to get you into some of these more complicated poses. Always listen to your body and take it slow. Chakras are basically like little gears that allow energy to flow through the body. The Indians call it prana, the Chinese call it chi, And it's essentially energy that allows us to live the lives that we do, that helps us to move, that helps us to digest all of that. If there are any blockages in the chakras, these poses are going to help us unlock that. So without further ado, let's go into it. So the first pose we're going to go into is Warrior 2 or Virabhadrasana 2. So gently place your left foot to the front of the mat, your right foot to the back of the mat. Now with your right foot, have the toes facing the long side of the mat. The heel is still on the floor. With your left leg, bend the left knee so that your knee and your ankle is in one straight line. It's almost like a 90 degree with this leg. Shift the hips to the short side of the mat. Inhale, lift the hips up. Staying here, move even lower like you're trying to get a 90 degree on this thigh. Staying here for 3. For 2, little bit lower if you can. Last little breath here. And for 1, slowly straightening up the left leg, and we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So gently bring your legs together. Right leg goes to the front of the mat, left leg to the back. The toes face the long side of the mat, front toes face the short side of the mat. Your hips will automatically go this way. I want you to shift the hips to the front. Inhale, rise your hands to the front of the room. Sit lower. Now your back will automatically arch and want to go lower, but I'm going to invite you to tuck the core in and move even further down. Staying here for 3. For 2, even lower if you can. Engage the belly, engage the thighs. Last little breath here. And for 1, slowly straightening out the legs, relaxing the hands. Bring the legs to the center. Now I'm going to ask you to move your feet apart, even wider than the shoulders. Right now both the toes are facing the long side of the mat. I'm going to ask you to rotate the heel inwards so that the heels are facing each other, toes are facing out. And then gently bend at the knees. The knees shouldn't exceed the ankles. Bend at the knees, hands to heart center, sit lower. This is what we call the Devi Asana or the goddess pose. No ego. If this is where you are, that's fine. If your hips are open, try to go even lower. We're going to just do some gentle squats here to open it out. So ready? Squatting here for 5. Breathing for 4. Try to go even lower. For 3. For 2, you might feel some pain here, and that's just your muscles working, don't worry. Last few breaths here. And for 1. Inhale, rise up. Legs go once again parallel to the short side of the mat and bringing your legs together. So now we're going to go into our crow pose or Bakasana, right? From here, gently place, you can bend your knees. Gently place your hands in front of you. Remember, this is an advanced posture, so do only to the level where you are comfortable. Hands down, lift your heels up, knees go into the armpits. This is level 1. Stay here if you are a beginner. If it's in your practice, shift the weight forward and gently lift one leg up. You can lift the right leg or you can lift the left leg and just stay in any one. If you want to try, you can even keep a pillow in front of you for your own safety, and you can gently then try lifting up both legs. Staying in Bakasana for 3, for 2 and for 1. Slowly coming down. Allowing your knees to go down to the mat. We're going to just take 3 counts to breathe here before going into another pose. So taking 3 deep breaths for 3. And exhale for 2. So often we get caught up in the practice, we forget to breathe. So we're just bringing the nervous system back to the center. And for 1. Good. From here, gently place your knees on the floor. Hip lifts up off the heels. From here, Right hand holds the right ankle or the right foot, wherever you feel comfortable. Left hand holds the left foot. From here, inhale, push your hips up to the sky, roll your shoulders down. Try to look to the back of the room, stretching your whole front body. We're staying here in our camel pose for another 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Slowly bringing your chin to your chest, lowering your hips down out of your Ustrasana, and gently bringing your palms back to center. So from here, we're now going to move into our shoulder stand. So gently turning around, allowing your legs to go straight in front of you. Once again, if you are on your period, I'm going to advise you against this pose. You can just keep your leg at 90 degrees, which is the first step. So I'll show you. So first step is keeping your legs at 90 degrees. If you're on your period, stay here. If not, you can gently give your hips a small push, allowing your legs to go up to the ceiling. Knees straight. Stay here for another 5. Thighs are tight. Toes are together. For 4. For 3. Clench the bum. Clench the core. For 2. And for 1. Remembering to breathe. Slowly use your hands to gently bring the spine down as you lower the legs down, and gently come back into seated. We're now going to move into our headstand, which is a pose to open up the upper half chakras. If it's not in your practice, I'm going to ask you to do it along with a teacher or another practitioner, so you have someone to help you. If you're doing it alone and it's your first time, again, do it at your own discretion. Be careful. Know the limits of your body. So ready? We're going to move into our headstand. So coming into your Vajrasana, sitting down on the hips, interlace your fingers like this and place it in front of you so that your elbows are touching your knees, right? It should be almost like an equilateral triangle. So holding your elbows and then interlacing your fingers in front of you, right? Now you want to place the very flat portion, the crown of your head, not this portion, not the curved portion, the very flat portion, in the interlaced portion of your hands, just curling your toes, lifting your knees. From here, just practice this. This is step 1. If you're uncomfortable here, stay here and just practice being in the sensation. Level 2, walking your feet closer to your head, shifting the weight into your head. Level 3, lift one leg up, place it down, lifting the other leg up, place it down. Level 4, you can gently bring both legs up. And finally, if it's in your practice, if you feel strong enough to, you can raise your legs. Staying here for another 4, for 3, tighten yourself for 2, and for 1. Gently bending the knees with control, coming back down. Don't whip out of the pose, allow the head to go down to the earth. Staying here for another 4. The reason we take this Malasana after our inversions is so that the blood does not rush from one portion of the body to the other. We want to be very kind with our practice and not create more emotions, not create more difficulties or challenges. We want to be kind with ourselves. Staying here for another 2. Last breath. And for 1. Gently coming back into seated. We're going to end with our Sukhasana. So once again, one heel into the pelvic region, the other ankle in front, hands on the knees. Just take about 5 breaths to yourself. Move inwards. Move your awareness inwards. Notice what's going on with the body. Are your eyes open? Are you constantly taking in the stimuli around you? Or can you keep the eyes closed? Notice how your body is feeling after that practice. Notice the emotions that came up from that practice. While we're trying to unclog our chakras, oftentimes we add more emotions and more complexities. And even if that's the case, that's okay. Just notice yourself. Staying here for another 2. And for 1. Gently open your eyes. In this practice, we did some advanced poses to unlock any blockages that have been there in our chakras. I hope you enjoyed practicing with me. Namaste.